Hello again. First off, thank you so much for the people that sent me messages and um, with the last video that I made, because all I'm trying to do is get some stuff off my chest. I have no interest in monetizing or turning this into anything. I have no one here to talk to, and I have things sometimes that I want to say, and so I want to be part of the solution, especially after everything that happened with the Floyd murder. And you don't do that by being silent. So thank you for those that did listen. Actually, there were more than I thought would do it. So today I saw a vodcast with Joe Rogan. I don't know if you guys have ever seen him. He's amazing. He does a great job. Amazingly nonpartisan guy. He has his political leanings. They are left leaning, but he's not interested in trying to do gotcha questions, and he's not interested in trying to put you in a box. He just talks to people, sometimes for hours. Jocko Willenick, I think Willenick, he had him on today, a good friend of his. Guy was a former SEAL, amazingly intense, motivational type guy. And they had this great conversation today, and it was really motivating to me, and it affirmed a lot of the things that I've been saying for a long time, years and years, about how to fix all this stuff. And then, specifically now with everything that's going on with the true separation that exists between the African American community and the police. It's there. I want to start with that. First of all, people, please stop pretending that doesn't exist. I have talked to too many people that I care about and love, who I believe trust and respect me as well, and have the same feeling back, who have said this to me. When a person says, I'm afraid to get in my car still, and they are a rational, kind, intelligent individual, they're not doing that for effect. I mean, they're doing that because it exists. So to not tackle why that's happening is not fair. It's not fair to them. It hurts people's feelings when you blow that off. Do not blow that off. It's not fair. Please think about that. So I'm going to make it a point to never, ever do that again willfully. I hope I never do. The second thing I want to say is, when people say Black Lives Matter as it relates to the phrase itself, that's a very legitimate thing to say. Why can't we just accept that? Now, I know people on the right away are going to be like, oh, what are you doing? No, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just trying to regurgitate what I've been hearing. When there's a disconnect between one community and the other, and there are people that try to compartmentalize that into a hashtag, sometimes I'm not a big fan of that. Mainly because politicians co-opt hashtags into their own causes, and politicians don't give a shit about you. The only thing they care about is getting reelected. Democrat or Republican, that's all they really care about. They just want their jobs. I noted recently, how many white politicians out there, white, right or left, I don't care who they are, talking about, we need to have more women and more people of color in government. How about giving up your seat? Why don't you give up your seat? If you're that passionate about it, what are you willing to sacrifice? Oh, right? I mean, am I missing something there? Anyway, they had this tremendous conversation talking about that separation in those two communities. And instead of discussing things as one side or the other, they talked about it as what I've been trying to do in my life, in all the endeavors that I've been involved in. Just talk about it from a people perspective. It's not a Democrat-Republican thing. Don't let people do that to you. It's not fair. What makes you think that Republicans, if you're on the left, that people on the right don't care about black people? Don't be that ignorant. Are there people on the right that don't? Sadly, there are. There's people on the left, too, that don't. Shh, don't tell anybody. Don't for 1 second think that this is just a right-left thing. It's not. So anyway, I've been thinking about it. I have 3 things, and these guys said this today, and it literally is, it has nothing to do with politics. I think that these 3 things are very, very legitimate. If you want to talk about shoring up relations between these communities, there's 3 things you have to do. Number 1, and these aren't really in any order. I didn't write any of this down because I want it to be, from my heart. I don't like reading notes when I talk to people about stuff at all. Number 1 is that you have to have empathy. You have to have some sort of feeling to be able to relate to the person on the other side of the argument and say, okay, I'm on this side, but what makes the people on the other side say what they're thinking? Who dictates that to you? Who dictates what the other side's thinking? You or who you watch on television? Do you sit there and watch MSNBC or Fox or CNN and let these people think for you? If you do, I think you're making a mistake. I think you have to listen for yourself, and you have to go out and find nonpartisan sites for yourself. Statistics. When people quote statistics, there are always places that are nonpartisan that you can go to. You want to know about crime statistics? Go to the FBI website. They will tell you. Don't listen to it, the interpretations of it from some asswipe like Hannity or some asswipe on the other side like Lemon or whoever. These people don't care about you. They care about getting paid. That's all they care about. Empathy. Think about it from the other side's perspective for 1 second. Forget about the politicians. Forget about who's trying to represent some sort of ideology. When somebody says, look, I don't trust the police, or when somebody says, look, there's cops out there that are getting shot at and they live a tough life, how about put yourself in their shoes for 1 second? Just 1 second. I got to be honest with you. There's this whole deal has exposed some things with a couple people that I've let go of my life from the right. That, man, I didn't know you all were that bigoted. I'm not talking about anybody that might be listening to this because they can't be listening to it. They're not on my timeline anymore. I had no idea. Stop grouping people based on race or whatever. Stop saying all so-and-so are so-and-so. All men are. All women are. Stop. Stop with that nonsense. You know what? I'll say something like all Republicans are when I meet all of them. I'll say something like all Democrats are when I meet them all. I haven't met them all. The key is individualism. It has nothing to do with this collectivist mentality where you sit there and you say, well, I know because I was watching TV today and that guy Cuomo said that all those guys are, or that person Hannity said all those people. Stop. Find out for yourself. Having empathy, having the heart to think about somebody else first before yourself. That's the first way, I think, if you can look at this thing from both sides, from the African-American community and from the policing of whatever. That would be the first thing I would think. You know? Have the guts to open your heart up and say, man, I wonder what it's like. What's it like to be in the African-American community? I will never, ever disrespect anybody that's black by saying that. I have no idea. I just know that everybody that I've talked to that I know personally says, yeah, there's problems. So there is. That's it. Why would I say not? Why would I have personal relationships and people that I love that are telling me that this exists from different parts of the political spectrum unless it exists? But at the same time, when I talk to a couple of my pals that are cops and they say, look, do they, when I say they, I talk about the people on the left that are harsh to them. Do they have any idea about how difficult this job is? I can't imagine. Folks, for those of you that are really into like dogging cops, and whoever you assholes are that put this hashtag ACAB out there, come on, don't be a douchebag. Do you know what a cop probably sees in a week is more than you see from a traumatic experience in 10 years? I mean, do you even think about that for a second, or do you not care? If you don't care, why are you in the conversation? If you don't care, you don't want to learn, you want to dictate. What the fuck? What the fuck? You don't get to dictate to other people based on things that you've never experienced. What the hell is wrong with you? Well, you know, Cuomo said I should think that. Well, then go ahead and think what other people tell you to think. The truth is existence is a gray area We've gotten into this whole concept that life is binary, one side or the other. It's not. Humanity is this huge gray area thing for me. There's good and bad based on morality. Your morals may differ from others, but you're good and you're bad, whether you like it or not, whether you want to hear it or not. 1, have empathy. Think about the other side first, and maybe it'll open your heart. As far as the policing thing is, number 2, training, funding, help psychologically. These are the things that cops need. This defund the police thing is bullshit. Stop with defund the police. Please don't ever say that again. Please, from day one, I thought it was trash, and the more I learn, the worse it gets. Please stop saying defund the police. I know this has become a very hip hashtag for the edgy people in that one little group in the left who love to say defund the police. What are you, a moron? Defund them for what? What are you going to do? Who's going to police? Well, we're going to transfer the funds over to another group. Well, you're still defunding them. What are you saying? It's still defunding. What they need, and Jocko was just all over this, training. Training takes people, cops, as I understand it, spend less than a day's worth of training a whole year in self-defense, in combat tactics. When I say combat, I mean physical altercation combat. How the hell do you survive on less than a day a year? How? Well, just deal with it, cop. ACAB. Fuck off. They're there to try and help for the most part. Vast majority of them are good. You don't defund and add training. You add funds so they can have more training. Being part of the community, one of the solutions I've always thought was, maybe they do this already, I don't even know. But if police officers are required on their own time before they sign that contract, they know it. So they can't say that, well, I didn't know it was going to happen. If part of the contract was X amount of times a year, you have to, on your own time, engage in personal interaction with the people that you're policing at small levels. I don't mean 200 people in one cop. I mean 20 people, 15 people in social activity. Could be a dinner. I don't know. Whatever it is, for a couple hours every 2 months. I don't know what it is. That way you meet people in small groups. You have time to interact with individuals personally. It forces the police officer to engage the people that he's been charged to protect, because the power that a police officer has is amazing. They have a badge, they have a gun, they can shoot you. That's a lot of power, man. But at the same time, it forces the people in the community to step up too. You want the cops to stop doing what you say they're doing? You have to talk to them. You have to engage them. You have to reach out. It's symbiotic. You have to make that happen. Because the other option is, what I'm hearing from the people that are funding this movement, we'll create our own police force. Oh, that's wonderful. A partisan police force. Gee, that's worked out great in history, hasn't it? Training, psychological evaluation. Give these guys and gals the help that they need psychologically to deal with the trauma that they've experienced. You don't know what it's like. I don't know what it's like. What the hell is it like to see somebody get shot and bleed out? What the hell is it like to see a baby choking? To see all these things? How would you experience it? How would you deal with it? I don't know. I don't know how I would deal with it. I've never experienced some of these things. A lot of these things. But they were just expecting, get out, back in the line. 10 hours. Deal with it. Deal with people spitting on you. Like that one cat. I'll say his name. Dan Joseph. I stopped talking to the kid. Well, that's part of their job. Shut the fuck up. That is not part of their job. How dare you not be so empathetic to individuals who have the balls to stand in front of a bullet for you, and then when somebody's just screaming in their face, sometimes for maybe the photo op? Well, that's part of their job. No, it's not. No. All whatever of a group is not part of a group, like I just said. You can't be shitty to a cop or shitty to an African American or whoever just because they're part of that group. Training, psychological evaluation, and most importantly, vetting. You want to keep assholes like that piece of fucking filth that killed Floyd off the force? Vet them. You'll find out. You'll find out before they get on the force. It'll clear up a lot of things. Okay, you want to say that the police are racist? If you clean this shit up before they get in there, you can't say that anymore. But think about that for a second. Maybe the politicians that are on top of this don't want that to happen because they want to keep that over your head. Maybe. I don't know. How many politicians you know ever clean something up that they actually said they're going to clean up? Training, vetting, psychological help, personal communication with the police, with the community. Sounds like a good idea to me. I don't understand why this is so difficult. And also talked about, man, I lost my train of thought. But that's why I'm doing this live, because I don't want to have notes. I don't want to sound like I'm a news person. I'm not. I'm just you. I'm you. So I don't know. There's got to be a way to fix this. Yelling at each other ain't going to do it. Prejudices aren't going to fix it. From both sides. Anyway, I vented.